Hola clase, hoy es martes el 20 de octubre de 2020. Hoy tenemos, for para empezar, please spend 5 to 10 minutes on your Quizlet. Please watch the Telehistoria on page 89 of your online book. I linked it to you. You're watching the short lesson, so thanks for doing that. And your homework is going to be workbook page 50 and 51. Now, I am going to start checking your answers for the workbook. I wasn't because it's just a lot for me to check everyone's workbook, and grading can be overwhelming. But I noticed a lot of you guys aren't putting work into it because it's completion. So now I'm going to spot check it. I'm going to give you guys points for each question I spot check. So for the one tonight, I'm going to spot check 4 questions. Every question is going to be worth 2.5 points. So if you get it right, you get those 2.5 points. If you get it wrong, you miss those. So make sure you're thinking through every question and getting those right. Watch today's short lesson. So yeah, what we're going to be doing is, hopefully you watched on page 89, this little short telehistoria. You can click on this little link over here on your online book. Your online book login is just your Google, so please do that. And the short lesson is just this page. We're going to talk through it. So we're on page 90, right? So we're not looking at comprehensión del episodio. You can look at that after you watch your telehistoria. Nota gramatical. Use es la una to say it's 1 o'clock. Use son las for any other time. For example, son las 5. So you can notice that es, right, that's our conjugation of ser. That means he, she, or it is. So here it's saying it is. So it is la una. We use la here because una is singular, right? So la. We use las here for any other time when the time is plural, like 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So son las dos, son las tres, son las cuatro, etc. Use y plus minutes for the number of minutes after the hour. It's clicking weird. Okay, for the number of minutes after the hour up to 30. So, for example, son las 2:10. It's not y10. You guys got that wrong on your speaking assessment. Son las 2:10. Use menos plus the minutes for the number of minutes before the hour. So, for example, es la 1:20. Es la 1:20. That's to say it's 12:40, right? So notice here we're saying up to 30, you can say y something. If it's after that 30, you're going to say menos. Use y or menos cuarto for a quarter of the hour and y media for the half hour. So to say what time something happens, use a la or a las. So for example, la clase de arte es a la 1 y la clase de inglés es a las 2. Again, that's because una is singular, dos is going to be plural, las. Let's talk about this. El horario de clases. Remember, horario means schedule. Escribe a qué horas son las clases de Marisol. So, remember, escribe, that's to write. A qué hora son las clases de Marisol. So go ahead and pause the video. Try to think through how you would say each of her classes are at this time. Okay, so we already did the first one, right? La clase de historia es a las 7 de la mañana. La clase de matemáticas es a las 8:15 de la mañana. Remember, cuarto means a quarter, and 15 minutes is a quarter. La clase de inglés es a las 9:30 de la mañana. La clase de arte es a las 11:15 de la mañana. 11:15. La clase de ciencias es a la 1. Remember, notice I said la instead of las. A la 1:05 de la tarde. La clase de español es a las 2:10 de la tarde. Muy bien. So it says, did you get it? Complete each sentence with the appropriate time. El jueves, Claudia tiene que llegar a la escuela. Now, tiene que llegar, that is a verb of what am I trying to say here? It's saying that she needs to do something, right? So, Claudia needs to arrive at the school a las, what is it? A las 10:15. What about número dos? Son 8:20, right? Número tres, a Pablo le gusta hacer la tarea blank de la noche. A Pablo le gusta hacer la tarea a las 7 de la noche. So notice, again, just a quick review. If you're saying at the time, you're saying a la or a las. If you're saying it is, like it is 8 o'clock, it is 9 o'clock, you're going to say son or es. So like son, 8:20, right? 8:20. At is a las. So please review these rules. That's all we have for today. Your homework assignment, again, is to, wrong one, is to work on your workbook pages 50 through 51. Oh, and I said that there's a note. I put that on my slide. Nota en actividad 3. So let me look at what note that is for you guys really quick so I can tell you the same thing I wanted to tell them. Okay, actividad 3. So on page 50, you guys might ask this question. On page 50, actividad 3, it says incomplete sentences, answer the following questions about yourself. Well, number 2, it says, ¿Cuántos exámenes hay en la clase de español? That question's asking how many exams are there in the class of Spanish. So to answer that question, just think how many exams we've had so far, or tests, right? So we've had our lección preliminar, we've had our unit 1.1, and we've had our unit 1.2. So just use those 3 to answer that question. ¿Cuántos exámenes hay en la clase de español? You should have this. There are 3 exams in the clase of español. So in Spanish, that won't be one of the ones that I'll count for your guys' grade, but just do your best in that. And yeah, that's all for today. Adiós, mis estudiantes, y hasta mañana.